Welcome back to Views and Vibes. We're here talking with some great artists who are part of this great independent film scene here in the Washington, D.C. area. For the last segment of my show, I always like to do something called the interview, where we talk about things that are very specific to you and the core of who you are as an artist. The first question I want to ask you guys, and we'll start with Ryan, who is your audience? Who are you trying to reach through your filmmaking?
I think every film may have its own specific audience. This last film I just completed called Money Matters. It's about a young girl growing up with questions of faith and orientation as a shock of her absentee father that's now a priest enters her life for the first time. Okay. It's very much a female story. It's very much about just becoming an adult parent and the relationship she has with the almost adult child. Okay. So this film in particular is, I think, youth between the ages of probably 16 to 22, 25, and women between 16 and 35.
Is it tearjerker? Am I going to cry when I watch it?
You know what? I have had at least a few tears in there, but okay. I wouldn't classify it as that. You know, I think those that feel so close or have a similar story. Okay. You know.
Very true. Very true.
So yeah. So this project, I would say, those are the two main audiences.
Okay. Walter, what about you?
For the majority of my films, I'd like to reach everyone, really.
And we all would love to do that.
You know,
but even as a writer, I know that I have a certain segment of people I'm only going to reach.
Well,
you know,
for Torn in particular, I'd probably say it's 25 and over. Anyone that's been in a real relationship where that they've been hurt, you know, then definitely Torn is that movie. But I don't want it to be. I don't want any of my movies to be black or white or categorized in that nature. I want my movies to be. I want it to be like Tewodross said, a good story. And if it's a good story, if it's well written, it's well acted, then masses can relate to it. But for Torn in particular, it's probably I'd probably say 25 and older. Okay. You know.
Yeah, and I would say kind of primary about 25 and up. I mean, the story I'm working on actually you kind of made me think about my film. It's called Baba, and it's animation. I'm really an animator, believe it or not. I'm using animation for dramatic purposes to tell a piece about kind of a personal thing about missing children and abducted children and that type of thing that I've gone through. And then I'm working on a larger piece, an animated feature on Donny Hathaway, a great musician. Wow. Oh, wow. So I mean, obviously kind of 25 and up, but you know, again, we do want it to be more universal, you know, and as artists, I want to agree with Walter. You don't want to be pigeonholed into the black filmmaker, you know, this filmmaker. But I mean, universally, we want to go for as wide as audience as possible, you know.
Okay. We're going to the next question. How do you want your viewers, you know, as an actor, as a producer, as a director, what do you want your viewers to take away from your film? You know, and how do you want them to actually be affected by what you do? We can start with
Sure. Great. Just a great question. I mean, you know, we look at films, all of us, and you know, somehow I want to be able to, just as I'm touched by a certain film, if I'm emotionally affected or moved by a film, if I'm really, really pissed off, or if I really, really loved it, or if it's a tearjerker, if there's some connection that I have with that film, I think that's what I'm hoping to seek with my work. And I always tell people I want to create an experience as opposed to just kind of creating art. You know, I want people to actually interact with this film and maybe move to something on a social level. So
nice.
I think I approach that each film individually. Certain films I want to be for pure laughter and entertainment.
Because you do play a lot of different roles. Because like in Anacostia, you were a bastard. So.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want people to say, okay, a Walter Jones film is going to be, he's going to be a mean, abusive husband every time. That's who he is. You know, because even with like Scott's film that Frank directed as well, you know, I was like the perfect husband. So, you know, I want, and in Torn, I play a good guy. You know, a side that you don't really see in a lot of men, at least not on film. It's always the guy cheating. It's never the guy that gets cheated on. And even if it's something of that nature, he's always begging to come back, whereas you never see somebody trying to fix their marriage. Like he really is committed. So it depends individually on the film. On certain films, I want you to see that men can be good. And other films, I want you to see that, you know, even though you hate me, you still love me. You know, you can love to hate somebody. And other films, it's just pure comedy. So I'm hoping that with each individual film, people get a different experience, and that's my goal, to take them on a journey for that hour and a half that they get.
How about you, Ryan? How do you want to affect your viewers?
Well, I completely agree with Scott. Is it?
No.
Just T.
I completely.
It's all good.
I completely agree with him. Like, you want to have an experience, you know. And for me, I never want to dictate exactly what I want the audience to feel. If they have a reaction, if they relate in some way, and they walk out happy or sad or angry at it, I know I did my job. You know what I mean?
Right,
and
right.
you know, that's what it's all about. You know, I feel like films are an experience, and you should, you know, if you walk out and you don't think about it at all, then, you know, it wasn't great, or you know, or if it's a popcorn film, and it did its job in that aspect. It entertained you for that hour and a half, and then you walk away. You know, I hope that, you know, I create work that resonates a little bit and affects you in a way that you think about it later. And, you know,
I know one of the greatest compliments I ever received was when I first started writing. You know, I started writing probably about 14 years ago now, but about 2000, I was seeing this young lady, and she read one of my stories. And so about 2 weeks later, she came back to me and was like, yo, I gotta tell you, you know, what happened. You know, I just heard something about something. And I was like, you know, when she started telling me, I was like, no, that's the story I wrote. And so it affected her so deeply that she actually thought it happened. You know, so in her mind, so maybe she's crazy, or she really, you know, she's really so deeply affected by what happened that she thought, you know, this is, you know, what she read, she thought it actually happened. What would you like to try artistically that you haven't tried yet? You know, within the film industry, what would you like to try artistically, Walter?
I want to do a blockbuster film. I want to do some action, comedy, Bad Boys 2, explosions, doing my own stunts.
Nice.
That's really what I would like to try. Like, every film so far has been different. I played the perfect husband. I played the most horrible husband you could find. And now I'm playing this vulnerable guy.
But now you want to do a blockbuster.
Now I want to do something huge.
Ryan, what about you?
I would love to do a blockbuster too. But I've been in drama for a while. I would love to try comedy, which I'll be doing next.
Tewodross?
Definitely science fiction.
Science fiction.
No question. Science fiction, animation. I mean, these are two kind of genres that I'm really excited about with, and I really still don't see that many images of people of color, you know, be who they are. So those two areas, and again, this thing with dramatic animation, I'm trying to kind of push, because, you know, we tend to think about it for children, but I'm thinking animation could be used for different purposes also. So.
Well, look, guys, we have to go. I really want to thank you guys for being here today. If you'd like to learn more about our guests today, please check them out on our website, viewsandvibes.com. Anyway, thank you for coming, and thank you for viewing. My name is Tariq Omari Walton, and this has been Views and Vibes.